Democratic governments are characterized by the principle of rule by the people, where citizens have the power to make decisions about their government through various forms of participation, such as voting and public debate. However, the structure and functioning of democratic governments can vary significantly across the world, leading to different types of democratic systems. The most prominent types include direct democracy, representative democracy, parliamentary democracy, presidential democracy, and mixed or hybrid systems. Each of these types has its own mechanisms for balancing power, ensuring representation, and maintaining accountability. 1. Direct democracy. Direct democracy is the most straightforward form of democracy, where citizens have a direct say in the decision-making process. Instead of electing representatives to make decisions on their behalf, people vote on specific issues or policies themselves. This form of democracy is rare in its pure form, particularly at the national level, because it can be challenging to manage in large, diverse populations. The most famous example of direct democracy is found in Switzerland, where citizens frequently participate in referendums and initiatives. Swiss citizens can propose amendments to the constitution or demand a referendum to repeal laws passed by the legislature. This system empowers citizens but also requires a high level of political engagement and understanding. 2. Representative democracy. Representative democracy, also known as indirect democracy, is the most common form of democracy in the world today. In this system, citizens elect representatives who then make decisions on their behalf. This approach is more practical for large, complex societies, where direct participation by all citizens in every decision would be unmanageable. Representative democracy can take various forms depending on how representatives are elected and how much power they hold. For instance, in the United States, representatives are elected through a system of single-member districts, and the government operates as a federal republic. In the United Kingdom, representatives are elected through a parliamentary system, where the executive branch is derived from the legislative branch. 3. Parliamentary democracy. In a parliamentary democracy, the executive branch of government derives its legitimacy and authority from the legislature, parliament, and is directly accountable to it. The head of state, often a monarch or president, is usually a different person from the head of government, the prime minister. The prime minister and their cabinet are typically members of the legislature and are responsible for implementing laws and managing the day-to-day operations of the government. Countries like the United Kingdom, Canada, and India operate under parliamentary systems. In these systems, the government can be dissolved and new elections called if it loses the confidence of the majority in the parliament. This close relationship between the executive and legislative branches promotes accountability, but can also lead to instability if the government frequently loses parliamentary support. 4. Presidential democracy. In a presidential democracy, the president is both the head of state and the head of government, and there is a clear separation of powers between the executive and legislative branches. The president is elected independently of the legislature and serves for a fixed term. This system allows for a strong and stable executive that can act independently of the legislature, but it can also lead to gridlock if the president and the legislature are controlled by opposing parties. The United States is the most prominent example of a presidential democracy. In this system, the president has significant powers, including vetoing legislation, appointing judges, and acting as commander-in-chief of the armed forces. However, these powers are balanced by the checks and balances provided by the legislature and the judiciary. 5. Mixed or hybrid systems. Some democracies combine elements of both parliamentary and presidential systems, leading to what are known as mixed or hybrid systems. In these systems, there is both a president and a prime minister who share executive responsibilities. The president is often directly elected by the people, while the prime minister is appointed based on parliamentary elections. France is a notable example of a mixed system, where the president handles foreign policy and defense, while the prime minister oversees domestic policy and day-to-day governance. This division of power can provide a balance between strong executive leadership and parliamentary accountability, but can also lead to conflicts between the president and the prime minister if they come from different political parties. Conclusion. Democratic governments around the world share the common goal of ensuring that the people have a voice in how they are governed. However, the structure and mechanisms of these governments can vary widely, reflecting the diverse historical, cultural, and social contexts in which they operate. Direct democracy offers the most direct form of citizen participation, while representative democracy allows for more practical governance in larger populations. Parliamentary and presidential systems offer different balances of power and accountability, while mixed systems seek to combine the strengths of both. Understanding these various forms of democracy helps us appreciate the different ways in which people can exercise their democratic rights and the challenges that come with maintaining a system that truly represents the will of the people.